What's up, everyone? Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Welcome back to Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets. It's The Mix, powered by Mayo MediaNet here on YouTube and presented by Jock Market, the Daily Fantasy app, again, where we're just doing our thing. I'm getting tired of saying it, throwing my weight around the Jock Market. You see me on the top 10 of the leaderboard basically every single week on the main slate, doing the thing that we do. Yeah, baby, let's get it. It's Week 13, Monday Night Foosball. We got Saints. We got Buccos in what is guaranteed to be a slop fest, thank goodness, for gambling. Rate, review, and subscribe to the audio-only pod. And in a few minutes, once I deserve it, I'm going to ask you to jam that cartoon finger right up inside me, because that stuff matters more than it should. It's your host, the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple, Big Johnny Stud, baby. That's John Laghezza at John Laghezza on the Bird app, or you check us out at Mayo Media Net. We're going to bring some cool graphics for the audio-only listeners at your own, speed and time. Go check it out. Free download. If it's free, it's for me. Speaking of which, download that Jock Market app. Use the promo code MMN. They're going to match the first $100. And if you're following around the show, right? If you're following the show, then you're seeing exactly what I'm talking about, right? We're identifying values. You're using free money to make real money. We had everything right. Again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Seattle stack, Garrett Wilson, Jared Goff, Christian Watson, Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk. Like, there was lots of profit on the board. Just all the guys, that we're talking about. If you follow me on Twitter or on Patreon, but it's free at John Laghezza, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Enough of that. We need more of this. The fastest show in NFL. Absolutely. Anywhere. You take that bad boy to the bank where, we're doing, listen, it's strategy, it's analytics, it's everything, hopefully reaching out beyond the pale, just beyond today's game, leaving you with a feather in a cap, something you could use going forward with your 3 pillars of profit. Let's start it up. It's your blue chip stocks, brought to you by Jock Market. We're using Run the Sims projections to bring you the highest projected players on each team. And again, it's really effective. I think this kind of unique angle we're taking, combining all the formats, trying to do X's and O's, analytics with strategy and gambling, props, DFS, Jock Market, all at the same time, right? In a half an hour, mind you. To have the projections speak to us as a whole, then apply some analysis and, look for some congruence, right? Where these things are kind of simpatico. Let's get into it. The Saints, it's Alvin Kamara, properly projected at the top for 17 points. Whenever Andy Dalton's on the field, Kamara going to get some looks. Then to Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, at 15, down to Olave, at 14. Huge drop then there to Jarvis Landry, 8. Taysom Hill, 6. We're going to get to the tight end stuff in a little bit. This really was a great spot for Juwan Johnson, but he is out. I wish I knew where the love for the tight ends were going to go, but we'll get into that part at the value section. So what are we expecting? Top-heavy Saints action, as always, and it's if they're able to be stopped, right? That's it. That's the problem with the top-heavy offense. If you kind of clip off the head, there's not much left. Saints also not very creative. Dalton really very vanilla, doesn't produce with the legs, not much producing on the go when things break down. So the Saints offense is pretty ugly. Like, they need things to go right. They probably need to establish the run. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. All the beef, I think, is back for that Tampa Bay defensive line. On the Tampa Bay side, it is TB12 fighting off the Black Magic the best he can. Highest projected player on the slate at 20 points. Without the running, I'd rather not chase on Jock Market, right, where you're looking for the top end because you're paying up for it, right? Every move stand on its own, right? They're all independent moves. I think that's why I do so well in Jock Market myself, because remember, in conventional DFS, which is fine, it's a cool game and there's a way to make money in it, everybody's levered equally, right? It's a single lineup where they're all equally attached to each other, where in Jock Market, you kind of build a portfolio. Like, you want a little Brady, you can have just a little bit of Brady. Its success is independent of the, larger move to Godwin, let's say, they made, because you like the price better. So just a little bit why Jock Market is so cool. They've also added they're not naming this. I'm calling this. To me, it's a tournament style, right? I think we've been using tournament for conventional stuff, but this is worth people. Check it out. Really cool. They're opening the door to make money. I'm glad. This is a very good idea. Tournament style, like Hold'em, right? The tournament style, like you buy in for $20. Everyone gets an equal amount of dollars to spend in the Jock Market, and the leader at the end, the person with the most of those chips, wins, right? So I actually I think it's brilliant. Of course I'm like over compulsive. I wanted to figure out how many people were in the tournament. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't see if it was capped, and I was worried there was no cap, and too many people are going to be chasing too little. By the time I got back to it, it was already full. So hopefully they continue to run them. I'm glad to see that it filled. Keep an eye on those people for real. And again, if you're getting $100 free cash, 5 whacks. Like 5 whacks is awesome, right? To get 5 shots at slates. And then you may say, I forget, it's not for me. Or hopefully, if you're following us and doing the main slate thing, you're making money. All right. So it's Brady and Godwin. No surprise. Godwin at 16 down to Evans at 13. Godwin has really emerged since the injury. Because of, we've seen the E-dot drop for the Buccaneers. They're just not challenging the back of end of the field like we'd like them to. And when they do, Brady and Evans just have not connected. It's been really out of character, like drops and stuff. I don't think, Evans can't catch the ball. But there aren't enough of those opportunities, that you can't be spoiling them. So it doesn't mean that it won't be going on in the end, but that's why Evans' projection is lower. Again, right, we're letting the stats speak to us. Leonard Fournette is back, logging back-to-back full practices. So that's why White, 10.9, Fournette, 10.6, because nobody knows, right? It feels like a dead split. And as much as you'd like to say, one of these like Tony Pollard things, the backup has more juice. If Fournette gets the rock first and gets the job done, pass pro and the 3.5 yards at a time they ask him for, catches whatever pass comes his way, he's going to get at least his split work, right? So I always be careful. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater when we're doing these backup things. All right, let's do some analytics before we get it. I've been using last 6 now, right? 4, hey, 2 heads are better than 1, 4 games are better than 2, 6 games are better than that. The idea really just being to try and get a better idea of injuries and deployment as we see, NFL seasons are really about growth. And I think you get in trouble at this point in the season. Again, I don't think it's much coincidence that I usually do better near the end of the season with more data. People hear Mayo Media not kind of being more nuanced. And when you apply it right, again, let's do some of that in the penny stock. We'll do the receiver stuff, the man versus zone stuff. I think really matters when we're getting into these individualized matchups. I think that's the best way to do it. Both of these defenses are pretty good, and we're probably not going to see many fireworks today. That's just what it is. Both allowing 20 points a game in the last 6, both allowing below 330 yards a game. Tampa Bay has allowed 5.4 yards per play, but that's really just average. All the drive stats are pretty good, neither allowing a drive on more than really a third of scoring plays. Both have a negative EPA per snap against the rush. You can get it done, but it's not great. Tampa Bay has been getting beat in chunks. But again, the beef is back. So even though I am, even within the smaller window, you have to keep an eye on, injuries and stuff. And again, I think that speaks to the larger point of why you're always splitting data. That's really it, right? Leverett is back on the offensive line, and so Wirf's not back. And also, Luke G is back. God, I can't say his last name. Luke G is back. So they're adding pieces on both sides, offensive side and defensive side. Tampa Bay, sorry, I got split and I went to both sides, but it is on both sides because Vea is back. He practiced. I don't know why I went the other way. Hicks is back. He practiced on the defensive side. And Levante David, not going to practice, but it's not injuries, but it doesn't look good if we didn't get him today. Everyone else, Cameron Braid, full practice, So again, sorry for the split, but hey, good info is good info. Pretty split there down the middle. The pass defenses have both been really good, neither allowing more than 190 yards per game or more than 65% completion or a triple-digit opposer rating. Tampa Bay has allowed a bit more. They're not getting the picks. They run a lot of zone, right? So they kind of allow a bit. Saints are the flip side. The Saints play a lot of man defense. But remember, when we hear a lot of man, I think this is also really important. Although it is a great way to, it's a great way to find love, right? Because teams go out of their way to identify man matchups where they feel it's almost like baseball, right? When it's individualized, they feel there's more accurate, forecast of how they're going to perform. Let's say, right? Guessing how they're going to do. Even when it's dialed up high, man is only about 33. The highest get up into the high 40s. The Giants might touch 50, but they're kind of a unicorn with that stuff. But just to give an idea, Saints, but it is tuned up, so you're going to get a lot of man. They don't play a lot of too high. They're going to get a lot of zone. So let's look at it really quick. Brady versus that man defense. right, that he's going to see a ton of. 60 of 150, 628, 5-1. Really not great. Low completion, 87 passer rating, sub 6 yards per attempt, but 35% targets going to the slot. So since Godwin has been back against man that he's going to be seeing, it's been actually Evans at the top. 11, 21-1, 27% team target, 36% team air yards. Those are all really thick. Then it's actually been Otten, but Brady's back, so think tight end. 12% target, 16 air, really just average. The Godwin has not been great since he's come back with man. So I know, again, right, so we're just, not saying we're just looking at buck up against projections, but we're looking to take these projections, use our analytics, and see maybe where we see a bit of a disparity, because, again, these are all medians and averages and stuff, you know. The brilliant people that put these things up are not telling you this is exactly what it's going to be. They want you to use these ranges. I think, given the high amount of man from New Orleans, we might get a flip here, and if we see a reflection in the price in Jock market, it could be the Evans game that we were looking for. You know, they're going to look to identify man. Again, I mentioned they have not been efficient. But because Brady overthrew him by a yard or he dropped a ball, but that doesn't mean today's going to hit. That's not how we operate. You people basically know that stuff. So I think I'm leaning more towards Evans on that side. Tampa, flip side, very high with the zone. That number's up over 75%. So that's the other side in understanding and kind of deducing, right, what to get from these, how to apply these numbers, because I can't show you everything. High zone becomes like absolutism almost. Like it's almost always zone. Remember, there's other snaps, short yardage stuff where you're just not going to get it. So when you see 75 above, 80 above, some of these teams like in the 80s when they're running zone, it's basically all the time. So you could look at that. Dalton against the zone. Been better than against man, believe it or not, which is odd. I guess he's not very good. I guess it's cerebral play. I don't know, whatever. 134, 14, 25, 5-4. The picks are not good. 92 passer rating, 7.5 YPA. Pretty good for Dalton. 46% of the targets going out wide, 42% going outside. So automatically, we want to be thinking Olave. Against his own 25, 3, 67-1. This is all with Dalton, right? So we're talking like week 4 and beyond. Again, I'm doing all the splitting that I can. Air yard per target over 12, 20% of the team targets, 34% of the team air yards. Circle Olave today, absolutely. Right, the usage is going to be there. Other way, it was Juwan Johnson. This was the juicy nugget. 17, 193-2 against his own, leading the team in slot routes, but he's out. So is it going to be Taysom? Is it going to be Troutman? We'll do that in a little bit. But once I started talking about the man versus zone, I knew I had some cool splits. Want to be looking at Kamara. Of course, he's going to be on the blue chips. He's going to be on the penny stock. Surprise, surprise. Alvin Kamara is fantastic and going to be the center of the offense, right? So we know he's going to be looking for Olave, but there's always so many shots there. It's going to be Alvin Kamara. Check it out. Andy Dalton versus the zone is third in the league in targeting running backs. Third in the league, 28% of the target share going to running backs. So Kamara against his own, pass catching, 39, 299-1. And there's that 25% target share. So, boom, there's the blue chips, right? You know, and this is how I got there. Right or wrong, yell at me all you like. I did my best I could in 10 minutes explaining how we got there. That it's Kamara against his zone with the pass. They're going to struggle to run the ball. These run defenses are really, really good. And again, with like Vea back, it's like he's going to lose 100 pounds during the game, right? That hole is not probably not going anywhere. And the Saints have not really been dynamic enough because of the missing pieces, right? I believe, right, everything here we talk about is punch to counterpunch, subsequent effect of the things that are going on. And in order to really have a good running game, you need weapons to threaten the other parts of the field. Right, so not everyone is focusing on Alvin Kamara, who's like so far in a way, right, the best weapon, and then Olave, sure, you put a man, you can bracket him, there's 2 guys, 1.5 guys probably takes care of him, or you just say Andy Dalton beat us that way, while we take away Kamara and, like, you know, the majority of what you guys are going to do. So we like Kamara, we like Olave, and then on the Bucs side, I think it's more Evans. Of course, Brady considered, depending on the pricing and stuff, DK conventional. Of course, Tom Brady. Jock market is going to depend on the price. I'm not going to go up until like 15 for Tom Brady because he's not going to run the ball in. All right, and if he's getting vultured and all the couple TDs go that way, you overpaid. There's a pathways for non-running quarterbacks to not finish at the top in Jock market. So, boom, that'll do it. Those are your blue chips. All right, let's get in the 20, man. Let's get inside the red zone. I'm feeling good. I got a nice touchdown dance for everybody. But first, let the big man catch a big breath. That was a lot, right? If I earned it, man, press that like button. You know what I'm saying? All right, second pillar of profit. We knocked out a bunch of the analysis already. Love this show. If you agree, rate, review, and subscribe. Download the Jock Market app. Using that promo code is the best way to let them know, right, that you're hooked up with us and, this kind of symbiosis, right? Everybody kind of working together towards the common goal, what this ride is all about. So the penny stocks are for a showdown. I mean, there's only two quarterbacks, so the two best values are Brady and Dalton. Breaking news. But I think more importantly, when we get into the other positions for any of the new listeners, is using cost per point analysis and just do the math, because sometimes you'd be surprised thinking the cheaper asset is the better value just by definition, and that's not always the cost. Just always give it a look. So Brady projected for 20 at 10.4, 525 cost per point. Pretty much standard on a showdown. It's a 74% projection and 15 IPO that has me kind of waving my nose. I think he has to be a part of your DK builds, especially if you're doing multiples. But I'm not going to put him in my Jock Market portfolio. I'm not going to go up to $15 for a quarterback that doesn't run for all the reasons I said before. Dalton, again, I mean, is he going to sling it? I don't know. The reason I could see backing Dalton at the 1050 IPO is, even though he's not running it, so much is going through Kamara, and he's so explosive that if they're able to pull some foolery and drag the Tampa Bay beef away from Kamara, get that ball out to him in space, he could crack a big one. Or if it's play action chasing Kamara, the big one to, Olave. Remember, Buccaneers giving up those big plays where the Saints really haven't last six. So I like Dalton better than I like Brady, but it's more of a price thing, remember, and projection thing. Dalton projected for 49. If you want to see all these numbers, they're all together at once. Go over to Twitter at Mayo Media Net, or you hit me up on Twitter or follow me on Twitter or whatever. It's all free. It's all good for you and me. So running backs, it's Kamara, Rashad, White, and Leonard Fournette. This one's going to be tough. I think these IPO can't be right. I either wrote something down wrong, or when this originally popped, Fournette was not expected. Let's call them exactly equal. They're both projected for 10.9, 10.6, the same. Fournette, 7.4. White, 7.0, the same. So it's the same cost per point. The projection's 31.6 to 29. I have a really low IPO for Fournette. Let's call them the same. Let's call them both $8, because I got Rashad White at 827. Again, when this came out, it just, a lot of these things get day of updates because we're waiting for reports. So I think that's probably it. Fournette's going to play. I actually think he's going to go back to the lead. I think he got the rest he needed. We'll see. You never know. This stuff, I generally think that way, especially with veterans. With the veteran QB, this team has a definitive path. The Buccaneers, I don't think they're going to experiment. Not that they think that way about White, but I don't think they're going to want a critical error from the rook in a big spot with a healthy veteran. I don't think, that's just not how I see them playing. So very, very, very muddy on the Buccaneer side. Kamara, of course, light years away. You're not even interested in anybody else in the Saints. Backfield, 17 points, 10K. Salary is everything you want. If the projection's only at 57, Kamara is a must, because there's a chance he's the target leader from the backfield, right? Like, what else could you ask for? The guy's going to get, like, he's in line for one of those crazy usage games. Curious to see if people pick up on those extreme differences that we get man v zone. So let's get into the wide receivers. It's Rashid Shaheed. But again, I usually draw my parameter at 4 points. He came in at 3.9. I was like, man, is that enough? Because again, his range, so it could be 8, because he is a pop for a long touchdown. Again, he's only done it once, but they've missed on a few others. So he is on the list because he is in the game. My problem is pretty much everything, right? The 1.4 salary is nice, but you got to get 4 points. I just don't feel like you're getting 4 points. I feel like you're either getting 12 in one play or you're getting 0. So I guess it depends on your build and if you're going for, right, I guess if your narrative is the deep shot is the way to get the Bucs, and they're going to use Kamara to bring the defense in to go over the top, and you think we might get Olave bracket, right? You're that deep into the story, but you have to be, right, to try to be different, especially. Maybe Shaheed's the answer. Then it's Olave and Landry. Olave projected for 14. Again, I think that's low because I think the splash play is there and the volume play is there. It's really just a two-man game. I'm a bit worried about the tight ends because it's so split. Let's do the Troutman thing, then we'll back up for the Bucks before we do the prop play. Right, so Olave, we know, we talked about it. Landry, I'm not there because the slot targets are not really there. Troutman is projected for 5.5. So he played last week. He's coming back from injury, and this is where the confusion sets in because we don't know, right? So he's more the conventional tight end than Taysom Hill, of course. But the routes were all really split. Which one out? Taysom was the only one to catch a pass. Caught one pass for 7 yards. Troutman was shut out. They both ran 8 routes total. But Taysom ran the slot routes. And this might be wish casting. But these numbers again are objective. I don't mess with these. These are not I don't mess with them. These are the pros. I think in the case we drew it up, right? So where the Saints kind of have this package set to target the tight end in the slot because it's double slot. Is Landry take that? He didn't last week. Now, I don't know. Maybe I talk myself into maybe that's where he fits. Maybe he's fell through the cracks with these splits. I'm kind of looking now. It's just been 3 for 30, 3 for 30, 2 for 20. I mean, he hasn't even been as good as Juwan Johnson. Like that zone slot role hadn't gone to Landry, and it worries me. It worries me a bit because you're gonna have to pay for Landry, right? He's up at that $7. We're gonna be above. A lot of times these projections are low, so Troutman here is listed. I think people are gonna chase Troutman with Juwan out. I used to think it might be Taysom Hill in that slot role. And then remember, he has explosive topside nature. So though he might be more expensive, I think really Hill is the play. Because of the openings in the slot, especially with the zone. If you're, not digging it, then I guess it's all about Landry. It's kind of got me. Scrambled a bit. I'd not say misleading people, but I was trying to filibuster until I could find it. Like the Landry use is it's been so kind of poor, right? 20% of routes for drop back in the last 6 weeks. He's running routes, but the targets are just not there. 5% of the team targets, minus 8 EPA per man. It's like I don't know why I kind of landed towards Taysom, but feel free to push up against me with Landry. I think that's where I have to leave it at. I know some people, I help people here. No one's blindly tailing, but I just like to be really transparent in my work. So as tailed and tangent as I got, and I think sometimes it's important to kind of see like how the procedural stuff goes, because that's most of the questions I get, right? The high IQ questions from everyone out there in Mayo Media Netland. And then it's pretty easy on the Tampa Bay side. For me, it's going to be Evans. I want to lean on Evans. People are going to see the Godwin stuff, 26 team target, 22 team air. I want to look for the deeper stuff against the man where Evans has nearly double the air yards per game, 113 air yards per game. Like the far and away team leader. Just really, again, they just haven't really converted. 29 receptions. Over 6s, it's not really what you'd expect from Evans, somebody we thought we had chalked up for, like wide receiver 1 stuff, because he's, running around on 93% of dropbacks. So you're running 42 routes a game. It just really hasn't converted the way that we want. But again, I'm just going to hope that happens today. Evans, again, got the wide. We're going to be looking for the shots out wide. 39% of the team air in the last 6. Let's just hope that we convert some of those unexpected air yards. Julio, of course, is always a pop. I'm not digging the 615 IPO. I like Julio a lot better as a value on a conventional, slate, DK, FD. 5.4 salary with the potential is awesome. The 6 IPO is not going to end at 6. It's going to be 7 or above. And I'm not seeing it because I think those shots are going to go to Evans, who's not on this. So I guess I'm bucking the systems today, right? So my values here is Dalton over Brady, Kamara all the way, split on the Buccaneers, keep an eye on the IPOs. Olave, price dependent, 10 IPO. I'm not going above 1250. I want to keep the 2-to-1 in place for the 25 to max out. Again, reasoning. Disagree all you like. That's my position. Landry, my gosh, I'm so stuck on that. So, I don't know. You got to take what you want. I think the 5.2 salary is a lot cheaper than the 686 IPO. So maybe I'd go that way. Maybe I'll play him in the showdown and not in Jock market. Godwin, I think, is going to get steamed. We're already seeing 1350 expected IPO just through the roof. Absolutely crazy. And again, because he's the man, but I don't think today is the day. I don't think that's it. I think it's going to be Brady to Evans, split between the running backs. And then, like I said, I'm going to get away from Troutman. The IPO is low enough to get a piece of it for my Jock market crowd. But I'm going to be looking for Taysom Hill, but not in the way that I think the crowd is. So maybe that's it. Like where Taysom gets some steam. I think maybe that's where I was having trouble, explaining was. People are kind of on Taysom because they're hoping for these like pistol packages, which you could get. I don't know if I'm really expecting that. Maybe they think they can get around the Tampa Bay beef. But me, it's more, he stepped into a role that, he kind of fits, right? They have this Juwan Johnson tight end listed, wide receiver by nature, body, and track record, right? He's a wide receiver in college. And then we saw that. And his ability to plop in zone, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm silly. Maybe by the end, maybe I'm splitting my Landry and Taysom Hill shares before I outwitted myself. I just felt like Landry's floor just felt so solid. The ceiling too, right? Like 3-30, 3-30, 3-30. So all right, that's your penny stocks. A bit of confusion at the slot for the Saints, but that's what you're going to get. These offenses are not very good. They're going to be challenged by the Bucs, who are very tough, right? That front seven, which is part of the slot receiving. So. All right, that'll do it. The ball is in the 10, though it took me 4 down. Right, it took me 4 downs to get there. I had to go for it on 4th to get it there. But all that matters, right? Sometimes the ends justify the means. If you learn something, let me know. Get up in the comments. Let Patty know how good of a job we're doing. If that, tag him on Twitter. He loves that stuff. Rate, review, and subscribe while you're at it. Let's punch the ball in the end zone. But first, let me just catch a quick breath. Oh my goodness, that was a lot. All right, last pillar of profit, Week 13 Monday Night Football prop brought to you by Jock Market. I really like these alt props. Again, I'd rather play for long odds. We did very well this weekend again, and we missed a couple close ones, but it's about time, getting back on track and making money doing this stuff. Really put ourselves in great spots. It's just, guys get hurt sometimes, and you lose a prop bet when they get hurt, and then that happens a couple times, set you back for a week, which could set you back in overall. So that's how it goes. These props we've been able to do pretty quickly. I think it makes sense, right? Because if we're only at a single play, again, if you're looking for whole tickets, follow me on Twitter. Just ask, gambling is abound. But for a single play, right, I think going through the analysis, it probably should have led us there. So I have the Alvin Kamara alt reception prop, right? So I'm not receiving yards, but reception prop. I was surprised to see this at plus 118. Depending on your book, you might even get the plus 120. But I just like to be precise because it's the ticket that I got. Again, transparency, really, it's at the 4. It's so difficult. I do so many different shows and doing appearances and giving plays and have people like yelling at you like, oh, you lost, what are you betting? The stuff that I have my true serious hard cash on that we're counting is on Patreon. I think that's the best way for me to do it because I have all these things, I'm going to post this one because, we got it. I don't know how we don't get there again. Tampa Bay, hyperuse of the zone. Dalton just leading, near the lead in running back targets against the zone. What they do is, right, you use motion to identify man, as I was mentioning before, right? So oftentimes you're moving Landry across, and if he drags a receiver with him, the Saints know it's man, so they'll most likely be moving Landry away from Olave's side, right? Unless there's a specific kind of pick, cross kind of thing going on to create that kind of space. Other way is, right, you move him towards him to open up the back door, right? Trying to get them to chase that bunch and going back door to Kamara with that thick team target share. I mean, 39, 299, and 1 since week 4 as a running back, just against the zone, right? That's not even the total. It's just against the zone. So it's all against the zone. These are the games where Kamara gets a hyper usage. We're looking for 5 catches at plus 120. Give me 5 catches at 11 yards. We'll take it, and I'll see you at the window. And that will do it, everybody, for the fastest show in NFL absolutely anywhere. Analytics, props, plays, DFS, Jock Market, hopefully a laugh or two with your boys here at Mayo Media Net. Please rate, review, and subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Press the like button because it matters more than it should to the people who hollered at us about, the weekend show being gone. Yep, appreciate you. And, sometimes that's just how these things are. So no main slate show through the holiday season. And again, if there was never a better time to ask for interaction and let them know we want to keep this thing going. So that will do it, everybody. Thanks for picking up what we're putting down. Sorry about the slot confusion, but I think sometimes being money is part of it, right? And sometimes no bet better than a bad bet, or in a jock market, splitting plays and the like. So give me Kamara with the receptions. I think that's a given. I think Evans, we finally get those long connection today. We finally get a couple of those. Give me 2 touchdowns from Evan. Love that. And the Buccaneers probably win this one, but I really am worried about it turning into a slop fest and slugfest because of the running, right? And that's part of the reason for the totals dropping across the league, right? Again, last feather in the cap is with these totally, hyper usage models and methods, right? When you're zoned all the time, teams then decide to go underneath. You throw it to running backs, he gets tackled 4 or 5 yards in the field of play, and the clock is continually ticking, and that's just like how it goes. And it's tick, 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 tick. And you see, like now more than ever, right, we can quantify this. This will be stuff you'll see in the offseason, 1,000%. Duration of drives is up, time of distance is up, but like the scoring is down, right? So teams are just daring you to be efficient. Now, it's harder to make 15 plays than it is to make 6 plays, even if they're a bit shorter. So, all right, there we go. I'm out of here, man. Enjoy the game. Enjoy your day, and when we are done with the book, enjoy that pay, everybody. Thank you so much. Make sure, you subbed up to the channel as we make the transition into the end of the fantasy season. Hit me up with your fantasy questions. I still have some athletic stuff going on, but, we are out there grinding to the very last bit. I love the advanced stats, bringing the splits, bringing the prop plays, go plop, and the CLV model coming up on Patreon in just a few. All right, man. Appreciate you all. Love you much for the support. It really means the absolute world to me. Enjoy this wonderful holiday season, yo. Peace.